Arizona State Legislature hearing on election fraud, Part 8.
Kind of a spike, or is there something that's captured on the machine that itself, like a memory card that is resident on the machine, not that is actually talking to the hard drive?
The machines, for the most part, the voting machines are just run by, removable software and data cards, the cards that actually hold the votes. The backup servers is really where the true story would reside, as far as the uploads, downloads, the change, the error warnings for the mismatch errors.
So would you be able to show with specificity a machine in Maricopa County going all the way across the pond, inserting data into a server? Or would it be an aggregate of all the machines that were in Maricopa County, for example? Is it by individual tabulator, or is it by the server here that collects? Can you help me understand that piece?
I'll put up...
That probably goes back to your headache graph, I'm thinking.
Yeah, a schematic that source shows that.
The reason I asked the question is we're still looking for evidence, and if that is in the evidence package, that's certainly something that we would want to know about. If we don't have it today, something that could be forwarded to the body would be great.
Let me see if I can make this bigger. So this is Dominion voting, the high level. It's a block diagram of how everything's connected, and I can print this off and provide it to you, or whoever would do your audits. But it's kind of hard to see when it's blown up. But you've got ballot boxes, ballots taken out. This tracks all the way through the image cast central to ballot images, and this is really what's voted. The ballots are scanned into these image casters, and there's an electronic image created. It goes into results files, and then it goes into validation, adjudication, auditing, reporting, and publishing. And then to Democracy Suite EMS, the Democracy Suite servers, the database servers, the document management servers, and it kind of shows you how this all goes out to the world from this whole system. Election data, this is kind of the top feed to all these servers, but this is really, it's a network. I mean, it's a computer company. It's all networked. It has to be.
So let me reframe the question. We probably would not be able to identify any specific tabulation machine showing up on the server because it's all aggregated.
Yeah, it's these tabulation machines go through this process, but the results files. So if you work it backwards from the server, you would be able to go back to a ballot image, an electronic ballot image.
All right, thank you. Senator Allen, you
Yes.
have another question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The other thing in this letter by the Board of Supervisors was they commented, again, of what made this a reliable election, that the election day ballots from 2% of vote centers and 1% of early ballots is required by Arizona law, and it yielded a 100% match to the results produced by the tabulation equipment. So that should give us, and all the counties do this. They do this hand count, this little audit of a small percent of the votes to see how it matches up to the machine. So could you explain how we shouldn't have confidence in that particular, how can they make that match up to the machine then when they just arbitrarily pick out 1%? If there's vote dumps that are happening and things that are happening throughout the process.
I would just say it's something we learned a long time ago: garbage in, garbage out. If you've got 1.9 million votes that signatures aren't verified, and they're just reading bubbled in
thank you. I think we're definitely, sir, in a new day when it comes to what is taking place across this country with voting, and we're going to have to probably really look at that. Thank you.
Representative Townsend, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Colonel, I just have a quick follow-up to some of the stuff we've been talking about as far as the security of the machines themselves. And as we know, like whether or not something happened or didn't happen, I'm most concerned with voter confidence. And if there's all these holes, then we're going to really deflate or collapse voter confidence. So I would like you to reassure me on one particular item in the tabulation room at the MICTEC here in Phoenix. In years past, it was you had to have a special badge, and only people that were certified to be in that room with the machines and the tabulation and all that were allowed in there. This year, I was told yesterday we had teams of 25 adjudicators in that room, in the tabulation room with those machines. Would it have been possible for someone in that scenario to wander over to the machine and have a conversation and put in this thumb drive you're talking about, or is it deeper than that, or something that's happened from remotely, or how secure are these machines? Because we know that there's no chain of custody on the hard drives, and on the machines we saw in a video left alone for almost a week in one of the voting centers, untended, unsecure. How could somebody, a regular person with nefarious intentions, walk up and change this whole election by putting in a thumb drive and changing an algorithm? Is that something that could have happened, or we don't have to worry about that?
Either an individual that has knowledge of the systems and how to, operate in the system could have an impact, again, from the server. They could be sitting in Nigeria, and as long as they got an internet connection, they could get to that particular server. If they had access to, the data from the malware that's on the server, they could get the login and password from, a Pima County operator or a Maricopa County operator. So there are just so many places that they can be interdicted or penetrated. There's just too many to describe. There's a lot of ways that can be interdicted.
Mr. Chair and Colonel, so what I'm hearing you say is I can't be confident that a volunteer of a political party that, the entire recorder's office and the elections director, everyone could have been on the up and up, and this is the most secure election ever, but if one random volunteer with the right information were to be in the tabulation room, could have then breached the security of the machine.
Correct.
And therefore, we cannot stand here and say we are confident with that kind of access to these machines left in buildings for a week. We cannot say with certainty that this is a secure election, and we have 100% confidence that nothing went wrong.
And you just brought up the chain of custody issue, and that's a critical vulnerability path. So that if the chain of custody was broken, then you really don't know. You can't say with confidence that it was a fair election.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair and Colonel, last point. If you were in charge, would you want a recount? Would you want an audit? Would you want a do-over? What would you do?
A forensic audit will tell you what was processed, but to the mayor's point earlier, as soon as those mail-in ballots, which were 1.9 million requested, I think a good
roughly
return. If those signatures weren't verified, then you can count the same things over and over again, but you're starting with flawed results already. An audit, a full audit, would be able to tell you if those were bad ballots or pre-printed ballots. You could do a full forensic audit on the actual ballots, but once the envelopes are separated from the ballots on that many mail-in ballots, it's almost impossible to go back without doing a forensic analysis of each ballot and paper and ink.
Okay, and Mr. Chair and Colonel, do you have any information about potential shipments of ballots to Arizona and other places from North Korea or something like? Do you have any information like that?
There were several affidavits that were provided to the legal teams
Can you tell us whether or not you have got, I don't know if you heard the question, or do you have affidavits that counterfeit ballots were somehow shipped into Arizona? All right, thank you.
Thank you for watching Jazz That's Me. Please like, comment, and subscribe.